Hey guys, it's Anne. Welcome to my home worm farming channel. If you're new here, please know that this is a warm, welcoming worm farm community, and feel free to ask any questions you want and even share stories about your own worm farm if you like. So here we are. Last time we did a huge feeding, including some worm chow. And sometimes with using expired grains, you get moths, which are in grain. But we are seeing that we have a nice pumpkin forest going on here, so that's cool as well. So what we're gonna do is dig in here and see what we've got. Looks like the moisture has been staying a good moisture as far as I'm concerned. And let's just dig in and see what we've got for the food. Now I'm going to move some of these sticks and stems from my pepper plants over, and then we can have a better look at things. Taking a look in on those gourds. Wonder if the worms will turn a funny color from eating this colored paper. Put the comments below. What do you think? Will they change a funny color? I don't know. Yeah, some of my overwintered pepper plants did not make it this year. I think they got a case of aphids, and they just didn't make it. Right now I'm struggling to keep Grandpa Pepper alive. Hopefully my efforts will work and I don't lose Grandpa Pepper in his 11th season. Go back and look at some of the community posts if you're interested to see my 11-year-old pepper plant. So I'm going to do a new segment this year. It's called Frequently Asked Questions, or questions from the last time. One of the questions that people give me is, why don't I feed pureed food? Back in the day when I only had 1 or 2 worm bins, and you know, I would, because I was in there. Like most new worm farmers, I was in there every single week in every one of my worm bins, and lavished them with love and time. But now that I have quite a few worm bins, I actually go about 3 weeks between feedings. And honestly, I don't have time anymore. My job doesn't allow it. So it is, you know, kind of a testament to the different ways you can run a worm bin. If you have the time to look in on them every single week, then by all means, puree your food. It does go faster, but I personally do not have the time to do that. Looks like we could still use a little bit more moisture in here. I did give them quite a bit of moisture last time, hoping that it would last, but it is winter time, and with a fabric bag, it does cause problems. That actually goes to another question, or another comment people have said, was that, why are your bins so dry? Well, the purpose of my bins is to eat garbage. If I was breeding worms on purpose, then I would purposefully make it super wet because I know they like that. But in my case, my goal is to keep a friable, I guess is the word, texture, make it easier for the harvests. So it's a little bit of a different take on things. I'm going to add quite a bit of moisture to this when I do my feeding. So, but I'm not seeing any pumpkin, and it's only been 3 weeks. Got tons of little sprouts. These are probably pepper sprouts. I'm actually surprised. I'll put a picture in there of how much pumpkin we fed, and it was excessive, quite honestly. That was a lot of pumpkin. I really, really expected to see a worm ball. That's why I'm still digging. I'm like, why am I not seeing any worm ball or any pumpkin left? I'm just seeing the gourds, which were kind of more like wood than a pumpkin. So let's have a look here and see if there's any other questions. Somebody had asked me if Vermibags could work outside. Now I know that Patrick and Autumn from Vermicompost Learn by Doing have theirs on their outside porch. They have no problems, but they're in Florida. And so that would be kind of my response to that was, if you live in an area that doesn't get below 50 degrees or 40 degrees with European night crawlers and red wigglers, I would say sure. I don't know how sturdy it is against the sun. I would be concerned that the fabric would be broke down by the sun. If it's warm enough and you don't put it in direct sun and it's not too hot, like Texas hot, where it is 105 degrees for a month at a time, I don't think that would end well. So if you are in a very, very warm area, let me know. Have you ever had a bag system that you kept outside and were you successful in it? As far as cold goes, I don't think that I would put mine on the porch here in zone 5, just simply because the worms would go dormant. I just love the little pill bugs. Thumbs up for pill bugs. Good shredders. All right, let me go find their food and we will get them going. This is gonna be a stinky feeding, so I'm gonna dig down here a little bit so that the cabbage and coleslaw, bought it for a recipe, went to the back of the refrigerator, and I forgot about it. I was gonna see if I could make kimchi out of broccoli slaw, and then I got busy and forgot. So now it's worm food. So this is some rice there. It's pretty, we'll see if this turns into blue mold. I think there's gonna be enough moisture here that it'll be okay. Got some tea bags and cheese apparently. I don't always know what's going in here. Now that stir fry, this part here, does have a little bit of tofu in it, but it has been rinsed and cooked and mixed with other things. So fingers crossed that it doesn't have the same effect that it did in Florida. I've fed tofu in small amounts before and it was okay. I've never fed straight tofu. Maybe that was the difference. So we've got coffee here and eggshells and onions. Yes, onions are fine. I actually would love to know whoever saw onions being hurtful, because I have fed onions the whole time I've been worm farming and I've never had a problem. Now this bit of cheese, whatever it is, it's probably going to collect mites, but in my bin, that's fine. I am not fussed about it, but if you are, I would avoid things that are high in fat. Not going to do any more bedding here because the bin is full enough for sure. One of the other questions that people had been asking about was, what about inbreeding? So if you have a bin that's, you know, in the same place for years and years and years, is there inbreeding and does that have an effect on the population? I read back on a lot of my books and I never found any information to state that it was going to be a problem. I think worms are just not that complicated and there's not that many things to screw up, unlike humans and dogs and other things. But do a fact check on me, but I believe that all of the cheetahs on the planet actually came from 23 during an extinction event. So every single cheetah can trace its lineage back to 23, I don't know, like 10,000 years ago. So worms are way less complicated and the cheetahs are fine, right? So I'm gonna say that they're just not that complicated, and that's why inbreeding is not a problem in the bin. If anybody's read any papers or anything on inbreeding and worms, please put that in the comment below. Sandra, I think that's probably you. You do a lot more research than I do continuously. So please go and do your own research on that, but I have not had any experience with worms doing weird things. All right, let me go get some water and we'll do it. All right, here we go. This is not ideal, but I just take it and I put a little bit in and scruff it in. Kind of slowly is the point here of what I'm doing. You don't want to pour it all in one spot or it'll just run out the bottom. It is a fabric bin. So what I'm trying to do is grab handfuls of bedding and get the moisture up a little bit. And then any of the areas that are kind of like sticks and stems here from my pepper plants, I'll pour that on top of there. It's on the side, and the sides are the ones that is the area that tends to get to be the driest. So sometimes I will actually just kind of put a small stream down the side. I do have a mortar tray directly under this, so if I did add too much water, then it will go into the mortar tray below and not onto the floor. So I do have a backup plan if I did just add too much water. That is probably about 2 quarts, 2 liters, that kind of thing, and that should be enough. I actually don't have any paper shredded, so they're not going to get any more even if they needed it. So if you have any questions, please put those in the comments below. So if you like the bin system that I have here, this Vermibag Little Mammoth or the African Night Crawlers, I have a playlist that I will put right over there. And if you've already seen that, YouTube is pretty sure you're going to like this video over here. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me and my worms, and everybody have a good day.